Let's get to Maddie, who's listening in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, Patrick. I was listening earlier, and you were speaking to a young lady named Billy about contraception.
Right.
I believe I must have misunderstood maybe, or I'm trying to figure out, are you saying that just between a married woman and man that it's a lie? Or are you encouraging no one to use it?
Are we talking about contraception?
For instance, yes.
Yes, I did use the word lie, and I'll recap what I meant by that. And to answer your second question, yes, contraception, you shouldn't use it because of the reason I'm about to... Go ahead.
Well, hold on. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a single woman who's not married, I shouldn't use it?
Right.
But don't I have the free will to choose for myself whether or not I want a child?
Oh, sure. Sure you do. You have free will,
okay,
so no one's forcing you.
Myself? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then how would you say it's a lie, though? Like, I'm a little confused because I think it's smart to protect myself. And I think it's smart for any single woman who isn't ready to take that leap with her body or her life, that they protect themselves from putting themselves in that position potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Quick question. If you had a girlfriend who had a problem with binge eating, and she would binge, eat a whole bunch of food and enjoy it, and then she'd go in the bathroom and barf it back up again, and she just lived that way, where she was just enjoying the food, but she would barf it back up again every time. Would you advise her to maybe, get some help or stop doing that? That's bad for you because it's an eating disorder.
Yeah, but that's a completely different topic.
Well, it is a different topic. That's true, but there's a parallel here.
I'm not really sure how.
Well, in other words,
that's a disorder, sir. I'm just a little confused.
I agree. It is a disorder.
So you're calling someone who takes contraception, you're saying that we have a disorder?
No, I'm not. But if you'll give me a moment, I'll make it clearer. Okay?
Okay.
Here's the parallel. In other words, when you eat food, now we need food to stay alive. Food tastes good. There's a lot of pleasure involved in food. And we all understand that. We all enjoy it. But if somebody were to enjoy the food just for the pleasure of it, but was abusing the food, in other words, by using it in a way that wasn't healthy and was barfing it back up again, we recognize there's a problem there. In other words, it's a misuse of a good thing. Well, in the same way, now I was talking about married people earlier. The issue of single people wasn't part of the conversation. But the reason I said that there is a lie involved is because in marriage, and I didn't ask you, are you married or single, Maddie?
I'm single.
Okay. So,
well, originally, my question was about something else because I was trying to understand what you were saying. But while I was on hold, I just started thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm not even married.
Right. So just keeping in mind the context that I was talking about earlier was marriage. Here's what I meant by the word lie. When the couple contracepts, understanding that in Christian marriage, you're giving, well, in marriage in general, just marriage as an institution, whether or not you're Christian, you're giving yourself entirely to your husband, and he's giving himself entirely to you. And in sexual intercourse, that is a physical way of expressing that mutual self-giving, the total gift of self. Contraception introduces a lie to that, because what it really means is I give myself to you entirely except for this part of me, my fertility, or by using contraception, the man could be thinking to himself, even if he doesn't really think it thematically in his mind, it's still a reality that's present, and that is that I want all of you except for this part of you that I don't want, your fertility. And it's demeaning and degrading to women because it treats their fertility as if it were some type of a problem, a disease, or something that needs to be eradicated, something that needs to be suppressed. I think it's very demeaning to women. Now, most women, I would think anyway, they wouldn't even think of it that way, but this is one way to think of it. So the lie is, with the bodies, the spouses are saying, I give myself entirely to you, but in reality, because of contraception, they're not really doing that. That's what I meant by that. I don't know if you agree, but that's hopefully that clarifies it a bit more.
But if you're not married, and like in my case, and I choose contraception, then where does that leave me? Are you saying that's a sin? Yes,
I am. And it's not just me saying that. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't say anything. I'm shocked. You would honestly tell someone who's younger, who's single, and trying to protect themselves not to take it because it's a sin?
Yes. Because I know it sounds funny to you, Maddie, but think about this for a second. If you come from the perspective that I'm coming from, and maybe you are, maybe you're not, if you believe in Jesus Christ, if you believe that he is God, if you believe that he meant what he said, when he talked about the law, he's referring in some cases to the 10 Commandments, and he says, I've not come to abolish the law, but to perfect it. And he talks about chastity and about being pure and all that. That means that you don't have sex before marriage. So the premise that I understand
that's a dangerous mindset, man.
Really?
All you're doing is setting people up. Yeah. What kind of person suppresses sexual emotion until they're married and older?
People who are mature. That's people who believe in Jesus.
Oh, really? People are mature. Yeah. That's how
let me ask you, Maddie. Do you believe in Jesus?
Looking at porn and quiet.
Are you a believer?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, then that would be where we differ. So I understand your perspective. If you don't believe in other words, our starting points are different. So I recognize that
Very much.
Right. So if you...
I'm offended that you would tell young women not
well,
to
be
use
offended, Maddie. You can be offended, but at least you understand why I'm saying this. See, it doesn't bother me a bit if you're offended by this. And maybe you should be offended. Maybe this will give you something to think about. But just understand the why is that those people who believe in Jesus Christ and follow his gospel, follow his teaching, they understand that he said sex before marriage is wrong.
I would.
And based on that premise, everything follows logically from that point. Now, if you don't accept the premise, I get it. Then the stuff doesn't follow logically from that point, but at least you understand the logic behind it.
You said that God should be able to create a soul if he wishes, and contraception keeps him from doing that.
Well, I didn't say he should be able to. I said no soul is created if he doesn't will it to be created.
No, you said if I use contraception, then I'm potentially keeping God from being able to create a soul if he wishes. Is that not what you said earlier in different words?
It is part of what I said, yes. Mm-hmm. Contraception removes God from the picture.
Powerful, no, it doesn't. If God is all-powerful, why should contraception matter?
Well, because God is not going to suspend the laws of nature.
Oh, of course not. Oh, but he suspends the law of nature with everything else.
Really? He does?
Come on, man.
How does he do that? Can you give me an example?
Tell me the stories from your book that you believe. Any of the stories from the books that you believe, from the book that you believe. Name one yourself. Are you?
Well, I guess I'm not here to defend your position, Maggie or Maddie. That would be up to you.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm not here to defend your position, so I'll let you do that. Well, how about this? I know you disagree with me. That's okay. If you're offended, that's okay. I don't mind. But maybe you'll think about it a little bit more. And when you realize that when you come from this perspective that I'm coming from, it logically follows the things that I was saying. If you don't come from that perspective, as you don't, I get it. I understand. You don't accept it, but at least hopefully you understand it a little bit more clearly now. And I appreciate your call.
For more of the Patrick Madrid Show, visit relevantradio.com/Patrick.